Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank everyone for coming down here. I know that that is a very long trip. It's probably one of the longest trips anyone in Maricopa County is going to have to take, and several of you have made this trip several times, so I appreciate it. And obviously, I've only been in office for 18 months, but I definitely have not worked on any more items than regarding the Rio Verde foothills and the Rio Verde community more than any other. My district actually encompasses 900,000 people, stretches all the way to Gilbert. But as you heard here today, the population is roughly about 7,000. But these are very important, vital issues. Someone once remarked to me that regarding issues like this, that you have to balance competing interests. And I actually said, I don't think so. What we're doing here, I believe, is balancing parallel interests. And I believe that folks who live in Trilogy and the other master plan communities have to be respectful of the Rio Verde Foothills community, as I also believe the Rio Verde Foothills community has to be respectful of the master plan communities that have been there for quite some time. Ms. Lizzo remarked earlier about my visit up there. That was a wonderful day, and I really appreciated the time and the hospitality that they extended to me. And yes, was I impressed by these horse facilities? Absolutely. Would I support anything that would destroy the way of life up there or how these people operate? Absolutely not. And in fact, I do hesitate to approve or even consider any commercial activity. But I'm going to make a motion today to approve the item, but I'm going to give the reasons why. Because I really want to appreciate everyone for all the emails that they have been sending and all of the points that were made today. These were very good, concrete points that were well-founded, I believe, in reasons of good faith. And for that, I respect everyone who made those arguments. But I have to consider the experts that have advised us throughout this process. Staff recommended approval. They cited evidence and support from MCDOT, which is the county's Department of Transportation, from ADEQ, the Planning Commission, which is composed of people who really drill down and look at all of this. They also recommended approval. But to me, this is not a rubber stamp. I believe that anyone who's in favor or against this item deserves to hear the reasons why. I'm going to be making a motion, and I've been taking notes while I've been listening to this. And one of the big, so it's going to be hard for me to read my handwriting, I apologize. But one of the big arguments that I heard today was regarding traffic. And I actually was persuaded on the issue of traffic, because as you can see here on this item, that people will be living almost directly across the street are the people who are asking for and want this. When I talk throughout Maricopa County, I talk about economic development. It's a very big issue for me. But in this aspect, actually, economic development / tax revenue / jobs is not the game changer for me here. I don't think any project up here needs to hinge upon jobs / economic development. It's about necessity. And I do believe there's a necessity here for the master plan community. But at the same time, as people pointed out, that there's a Rio Verde Foothills lifestyle. And would I approve a project like this next to one of the beautiful horse facilities I've been able to visit? Most likely not. Because that would ruin their lifestyle. But you already have a master plan community that's located right there. So I do think it's fair that something like this does get approved. Regarding the economic viability, I've heard this, I've discussed this with staff, and what we heard today in the rebuttal does track with the evidence that staff has provided to me. I'm happy that there's an 8-foot wall. I'm happy that we saw design guidelines that will be synonymous with the community. And I think that's very important. I think landscape standards are very important. Someone brought up the fact that, is there going to be enough shading? We're going to be putting concrete there. We're all suffering under this heat island effect. So if a project like this is going to be up there, it's going to have to go through these design standards, and those types of questions will be answered. But today the question is whether or not to rezone the property. That's the only question. And the biggest factor for me is the citation by staff of the overlay of the plan. Since 2005. And it's remarkable how these plans can really be spot on in what they predict and what they plan for. And basically the population that they predicted would be there by the year 2020 literally was exactly right there. And it did contemplate and did mention this retail need. Rio Verde Foothills folks, this is a quiet culture. I do not accept anything that I believe would ruin or impact or be a detrimental impact in that. I want to underscore that right away. I have been on national TV talking about and defending the Rio Verde Foothills. People have said to me repeatedly, and I've received communication from around the country, these people deserved it, they had what's coming to them. I found that to be horrific. And I think everyone in this room knows that even as far back a year ago, that I presented a plan that would keep that standpipe open as of January 1st, and I thought it was just abhorrent to shut that off to the community. So if there's anyone who's been fighting on their behalf every single day, despite a majority of people telling me not to, it's been me. So if there's anyone who cares about the considerations of that community, it's the person sitting here at this desk. But at the same time, I do believe that the folks that we heard today who have proposed and advocated for and want this project, they've persuaded me. And at the same time, I do not believe that the people who will be opposed to the project or against it will be negatively impacted. So in the interest of this community and in the interest of everyone here, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve item number 26.
Thank you, Supervisor Galvin. And before, there's just 3 of us here. I didn't know, has our colleagues joined us yet? I know they were going to be late. I just wanted to know if they got to listen into this or if they're going to be a part of this vote.
Chairman, Supervisors, I checked earlier and still did not have their attendance on webinar.
Okay, very good then. Well, I'll be looking at the person that would have to make a second is sitting to my left, so.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Again, thank you all for joining us today. I appreciate your leadership, Supervisor Galvin, and talking to this community.